matter where you are in the world, CSL Dallas is here as your spiritual home. As a reminder, every day is a day for transformation, spiritual deepening, and heart connection, no matter what's going on. Every day we learn and practice something important that makes a difference. We invite you to come along with us as we walk the path on our journey to awakening. The soul is calling. So let's get ready for today's celebration by putting your hands together for the CSL Dallas music team.
Good morning. We're here for a reason. We are love and light in motion. And we gonna talk about it. Get on up, y'all. Here we go, here we go. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. We are family, we're sisters and brothers, and we cherish this love everywhere that we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, keep going. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. We are family, we're sisters and brothers, and we carry this love everywhere that we go. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. We are family, we're sisters and brothers, and we carry this love everywhere that we go. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go. We carry this. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go.
Thank you, CSO. Hello, testing. Okay. Thank you, CSO Dallas music team. I appreciate y'all. And welcome to everybody who came today. I really appreciate y'all coming. Hope you're having a good Sunday morning. I'm Bakari. I'll be your platform assistant for today. Welcome. To begin, let's read our purpose statement together on screen. Together, we are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, transforming lives. And so it is. Thank you all. Can you believe it's almost July? Right around the corner, starting Thursday, July 6th, our 6-week course on consciousness and creative process is your chance to learn from the great work of Thomas Troward, an early 1900s author, mental scientist, lawyer, and Hindu scholar. During this course, you'll explore questions like, what is consciousness? Can everything be conscious? And how do the laws of consciousness operate? And how can we use them? Led by practitioner Carol Merlo, you'll dive deeply into understanding the different stages and growth of consciousness in order to take more active part in your own personal evolution. Sign up to join in person or online at csodallas.org/education. Also happening in July is our 3-day Path to Inner Peace Mental Health Weekend. From Friday, July 21st to Sunday, July 23rd, this retreat is designed to transform mental and emotional obstacles into grounded realizations and spiritual awareness, all accomplished without therapeutic interventions, but proven practical and repeatable practices that strengthen your ability to release unwanted thoughts and emotions while centering yourself in spiritual truth of your being. This retreat includes meals provided by CSL Dallas, group exercises, safe places for sharing, one-on-one guidance, and a rich experience among a community of support. Registration closes July 14th. Get your tickets at csldallas.org/events. And here's Reverend Patty.
Thank you. Come over here, lovey-dubs. Good morning. Have you ever heard of the fable of Stone Soup? It's a delightful tale about a group of crafty and hungry travelers who convince an eclectic townspeople to add their little bit of their own food to the watery, bland pot. Thus, they created a surprisingly ample and delicious meal for the entire community. And this is the vision of our June everyday hero, Brenda Stein. Brenda has served as the heroic lead of the culinary team since last fall. And she has literally participated in most every food-centric event that we have shared here at the community. And an expert that she is on high cuisine, haute cuisine, Brenda is competently done everything from the shopping to the cooking to the planning to more planning and even taking on events management herself. And the best part about her is she is generous and conscientious and loving in all of her beautiful culinary offerings, making sure that each dietary restriction and preference has wholesome, wonderful, delicious food. And wait, there's more. Really, there is. And she has brought goodies to us to share for our Sunday morning celebration experiences. And she maintains, she repairs ovens, and she stocks the kitchen just like it was her own. I think it is her own now, but.
We'll talk about it.
Yes, yes. And her deep love and most precious gift in marrying delicious food with the sacred. Thus, she has created the sacred food experience for many of our rituals and holidays. And she does it all with great gusto and passion. The passion is the best, take my word for it. And like many of us, Brenda shares that her life has been transformed by CSL Dallas and our Science of Mind teaching. She has committed to sharing her gifts to the center for all to sample and enjoy as a gratitude gift for our community and what it has done for her. Personally, I think she is amazing and brilliant, and I could go on all day, but they're not going to allow me to do that. So I give you our sacred service heroine, Brenda Sun.
Thank you. Whether you're joining us for the first time or have been connected for years, welcome. However you found us today, in person or online, we'd love to stay in touch with you. Stay in the know by following us on social media, leave us a Google review, and sign up for our weekly newsletter and inspirational texts by filling out the Connect card from the link in the chat online or at the welcome table on campus. To stay connected to all that's happening at CSL Dallas, now let's settle into this morning with our music team.
I am remembering who I am. 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 I am remembering. I am remembering.
I invite you to join me and take this moment to relax, settle in, breathe in, and just luxuriate in this presence of the moment. The presence is the moment of the life we have. It all happens right here in the presence, and that's where the power is. Breathe in and feel that breath of life, and breathe out and carry it forward. And I'm reminded that the power of life, the single source of life, from one source, one place, that divine it. And it's all in everything. And it expresses in a multitude of ways in every single thing, person. Every human being has over 35 some trillion cells, and each one is unique in it, and each powerful and full of life. And each human being is that human being in all the different shapes, forms, colors, all the different backgrounds they have. That's all the human race. And the power is in that and flows through that. And we recognize right now the pride we all take in ourselves as a human being, as an individualized human being, individualized expression of that one divine it, that ultimate love itself. And we celebrate that. We celebrate with each other and support each other in that as best we can, and how we know how to do that and express that love and experience and friendship. And anything whatsoever that comes against that, that suggests otherwise, that tries to break that through, there's that power in each one of us. Each single one of us, and we band together and we say no. We say peace, we say love, we say power. Power in multiplicity. I recognize this, and I'm so grateful for this, and invite you to claim with me this as so by saying together, and so it is.
I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. And in our remembering, we know that we are instruments of peace. Make me. 1, 2, 3, here we go. If you will, I will walk in the way of peace. That's what we're here for. Oh,
Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace.
oh yeah. Won't you make me?
Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace.
Oh,
Where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, I'll shine. I am an instrument of peace.
yes, I am.
I am an instrument of peace.
Make me an instrument.
Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace.
Right here, right now, make me.
Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace.
Where there's hatred,
Where there is hatred, I will love.
where the sadness, I'll
Where
bring
there
joy.
is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, I will shine.
Oh, I am an instrument.
an instrument of peace.
That's what I'm here for. Yeah.
I am an instrument of peace.
All right, y'all, lay out. Everybody loud.
Make me an instrument.
What do you want? Come on.
Make me an instrument.
Walk in peace.
Make me an instrument of peace.
You got a job to do. Come on,
Make me an instrument.
Make me walk.
Make me an
me
instrument.
talk. Make me live
Make
in
me
peace.
an instrument of
Oh, where there's hatred,
I will love.
Yes, I will. Where there's sadness,
Where
I'll
there is
bring joy.
sadness,
Yes, I will.
I will bring joy. Where there is darkness,
Say it.
I'll shine. I am an instrument of peace.
Claim it with your whole heart. Come on.
I am an instrument of peace.
I believe you. Let me hear you again.
I am an instrument of peace.
I am. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome, please, with me, Mr. Alex Watley to the stage.
Good morning,
Truth
y'all.
from the Youngbloods. All right.
Yes, yes.
Clap your hands for me, y'all.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and
mercy remark.
One love.
There is one question I'd really love to ask.
One heart.
Is there a place for the hopeless sinner who has hurt all mankind just to save his own? One love. What about one heart? Oh, let's get together and I'll feel alright as it was in the beginning.
One love.
So shattering in the air.
One heart.
Saying give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Oh, let's get together and I'll feel alright. One more thing, let's fight together to fight this holy Armageddon.
One love.
So when the night comes, there will be no doom.
One song.
Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. There ain't no hiding place from the mother and father of creation. One love, one love. Oh, let's get together and I'll feel alright. I'm pleading to mankind. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Oh, let's get together and I'll feel alright. Say, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Oh, let's get together and I'll feel alright.
It's Alex.
Thank you, music team. Thank you, band. Woo, one love, one heart. Yes? Yes, give thanks to that love, that power. All right, we're continuing on our journey of awakening, and we have a video for you to absorb.
As our journey to awakening unfolds, our soul is calling us to develop a higher vibration. Inner peace and enjoying life definitely raise our frequency. So does contemplating the true nature of reality and the presence of life and love. Holmes writes, "We are not the infinite. The infinite is us. All ice is water. Some water is ice, but all water is not ice. Neither is ice all the water that is." In other words, we must be aware of an interplay of a universality beyond us, forever extending, widening, and deepening our individuality. This whole thing we're talking about is the emergence of life in us. It is what makes us sing and dance and love and create and be born in this world and then die to it, all of which is a natural process, not as an evolution of the spirit itself, because it is an eternal changelessness, but the evolution of that nature which expresses, without which even the one would not know. We are the self-knowingness of the one at the level of whatever we are. The proof is in the pudding to our lives, so to speak. The journey to awakening is the journey up the ladder of consciousness in an embodied, day-to-day lived reality. It can be felt, measured, and experienced by us and by those around us. It is possible, once we know where we are, to use our practices to raise our vibration to a much higher resonance. As Tao Te Ching reminds us, awakening is dynamic, constantly evolving in accordance with life's realities, unfolding from ego self to compassionate self, from enclosed self to open self, from foolish self to enlightened self. This week, we examine what levels of consciousness we most often live from and explore or vision how high up we want to grow.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It is this evolution of consciousness. It's been continuing for ever and ever as long as it's been in existence. I had the unbelievable experience last week to stand in a cave where 16,700 years ago there was a divine creative urge for our ancestors to want to paint on a wall of a cave, half a mile deep. And we have been every day as a species of humanity rising in our consciousness, in our understanding, in our awareness. And every day we get to make a choice, each of us at such a time as this, as how do we react? How are we going to be? What energy are we emoting or tapping into every single day? So we're talking about developing a higher vibration. Are y'all ready to raise the vibration for yourself and every single solitary cell in this thing called consciousness? Yes. I love it. I knew you would be. And the root of this is from an amazing amount of work called Power versus Force. So this is the base. If you haven't heard of this book, the levels of consciousness, emotions, and how to shift them from force to power. Not from power to force, but from force to power. And it presents that every act, thought, and choice not only affects our lives, but affects the lives of absolutely everyone and everything in this entire universe. So contrary to some popular belief, or contrary perhaps to your own personal belief, I'm here to tell you we are not insignificant. I just want you to rest in that. None of us is insignificant. Each one of us matters. We matter greatly because we are powerful. Again, everything is consciousness. Everything is connected. Everything is the one thing. We're not insignificant. So, how do we increase our level of power and reduce our reliance on force? And how to recognize and avoid there is an influence, it seems, nowadays, an influence of force in our lives. It's out there in the world around us. Would you agree? There is. So, the first place to begin, as I've already mentioned, is everything is connected and everything is composed of this vibrating field of energy. That's you, that's me, that's the chair, that's this clicker I'm holding, it's Richard on the camera, it's the camera itself, everything is vibrating in this field of energy. Your body's energy, your thoughts are energies, the potential amazement or disbelief or frustration or enjoyment you're experiencing right now in response to what I'm saying is energetic in nature. It's all energy. So Sir Dr. David R. Hawkins discovered a method of objectively, for all you scientific, quantitative folks, he discovered a method for objectively measuring the quality of all forms of energy. And because of this, inquiry into things like the nature of human consciousness were suddenly on the table in a whole different way than ever before. And what he discovered and confirmed is that human consciousness is actually a field of energy, and we're all participating in and expressing aspects of it. right now. Are you ready to run from the room? Ready to hear more? So consciousness is an energy field, and what's more, Hawkins' research confirmed that everything in the universe is actually an unique and quantifiable expression. You may have heard of kinesiology. If you have not read this book, I read it, I don't know, almost 20 years ago. It was a dirge for the first half, I'll just tell you. But the second half sort of blew my mind once I started playing with it, and the second time I read it, and the third time I read it. And this is his first book, and he has some amazing books. But what I discovered back then, which helped me in moments in my life, is I understood that I could test for everything. Well, actually, use your left arm. And he tells you how to do that. You get a friend or someone that you know can be neutral and you can trust, and you start testing. And everything can be determined, whether it's power or force, and at what level. Does it make something go weak or stay strong? And there were times, I have to admit, I was in a relationship once. And I liked some of the aspects of this relationship. There were some bennies that I really liked. But somewhere in me, I sort of knew I needed to get out of the relationship, and I had just learned this method of how to test, you know? Anything I put in my body, it has to be a yes-no answer, all this kind of stuff. And I'll never forget, my dad said, well, about this relationship, he said, Karen, have you tested your arm yet? I went, no. Don't you think you oughta? I don't wanna. Because I knew if I did, I'd get the answer. And I have to tell you, I had a friend test me at the time, question, yes or no. I'm not going to go into the method. You can read it in the book. You can see it on YouTube, all that good stuff on how to do this. It's very easy to do. But I got the friend to test, and it was the yes-no about whether to stay in this relationship or not. And I'm not kidding you. I got the, nope, don't stay in it. And I said, do it again. Nope. Oh, come on, do it again. I think it's off. After 4 times, I went, all right. And I ended that relationship. Thank God. But I had a tool. And I use that sometimes. So his discoveries revealed that energy field of consciousness is a substrate of everything that exists, right? So another way of saying this is energy, everything is energy, and here's the key. Everything is consciousness. So according to Hawkins, let's talk about power, okay? Power is the alignment of our thoughts and actions with our highest values and principles. And it is characterized by feelings of love, not the stuff we see in the movies and we see on social media. I'm not talking about that because that can be, as he talks about, pretty addictive, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Not so positive. But this unconditional, universal, boundless love is what we're talking about, right? So feelings of love, joy, and peace. And I find this interesting. In alignment, our thoughts and our actions with our highest values and principles, and I would add spiritual principles as well. So what's force? Force, on the other hand, is the use of manipulation or coercion to get what we want, and it is associated with negative emotions such as fear, anger, and aggression. I know we have none of that. That's the good news. So he argues that power is a more effective and positive approach to achieving our goals, fulfilling our lives. It can lead to greater fulfillment and well-being. There's a powerful section in here where he really dives into power and force in the chapter, The Source of Power. And he says, force always moves against something, whereas power does not move against anything. Force is incomplete and therefore has to constantly be fed energy. Now just start thinking about everything in your life, everything in the world, anything you want, politics, just let it pop in while I'm reading this. Just let it flow, right? Power is total and complete in itself and requires nothing from outside itself. It makes no demands, it has no needs. because force has an insatiable appetite. It constantly consumes. Power, in contrast, energizes, gives force, supplies, and supports. Power gives life and energy. Force takes these away. We notice that power is associated with compassion. It makes us feel positively about ourselves. Force is associated with judgment. It makes us feel badly about ourselves. Force always creates counterforce. Its effect is to polarize rather than unify. Polarization always implies conflict. Its cost, therefore, is always high because force incites polarization. It inevitably produces a win-lose dichotomy, and because somebody always loses, enemies are always created. Am I talking about humanity in the existence since time began, perhaps a little bit? Constantly faced with enemies, force requires constant defense. Defensiveness is costly, invariably, whether in the marketplace, politics, or international affairs. And what's very, very interesting and what hit me in preparing for this talk is it says in the beginning of this, power is total and complete in itself and requires nothing from outside itself. So it does not move against anything. And he concludes, he says, true power, he concludes, ultimately, the only thing we can say about a source of power is that it just is. No movement. Can you feel the power in that power? It doesn't need anything. It's complete within itself. That's actually who we are. Because that's what it is. It just is. So he also suggests that our level of power can be measured on a scale of consciousness, with higher levels of consciousness associated with greater power and lower levels with greater force. And so we've been conditioned to think that force is power, and it's not. Like controlling others or situations or circumstances. Have we ever tried to control anything? Hey, I don't have that issue. Force is a false material level that always has to be backed up by reason. Oh, Petra's listening right now. Wonder if she's live streaming. When I try to control something, I always have the reason for it. But. Well, that was just a real revelation. I want you to know right in the moment. So true power comes from spirit. It is, and is attained through personal development and spiritual practices. Okay? And power is the natural state of the universe. This is what I want you to know. This is the natural state. This is how it works. This is the way it is. It's the thing itself. Power. While force is an artificial creation of the brain, the ego, whatever, that we're attempting and trying to manipulate, sometimes within ourselves. Yes? So he discusses how individuals can cultivate power and move towards these higher level of consciousness by letting go of wanting our ego to take the reins. I'm not saying get rid of the ego, but letting go of letting the ego take the reins and driving it, and begin to practice acceptance, surrender, and forgiveness. Ouch. Now, don't get me wrong. Force is needed in small doses. It really is. Force is necessary because you cannot sometimes move into power without using some force. Force can help create a momentum. Have you ever gotten angry at something or yourself or someone, and it helps to create momentum and it gets you started and you start doing the thing. Yeah. So, if I can find my place, I got momentum, and there it goes. So it creates that. But we need, like, to be brave. Sometimes we need to be scared first, right? To be powerful, we need to feel powerless at times. So it takes force to create change, but only a little bit of it is needed. We don't need to pitch a tent and move in. Once force has done its legwork, momentum takes over, and once power has been achieved, force crumbles. Okay, let me give you an example. The difference between power and force is to look at the tremendous effort that it's required for a rocket to overcome the power of the Earth's gravity as it leaves the atmosphere, okay, which requires approximately 25,000 miles per hour. Versus the effort, it's like effortlessness when the same rocket is able to borrow from other forms of gravity once it's outside our atmosphere. It just floats, doesn't it? It just doesn't take nearly as much. So, force is this finite pushing against that requires external energy that will eventually run out. You cannot sustain and maintain force. Pause. That's the great news about where we are in humanity. It can't be sustained and maintained, this force. It must crumble because it's going to run out of steam. Whereas power is self-generating and self-sustaining as a result of its own essence, just like the gravitational fields of the sun that keep Earth locked in its orbit. Thank God we would either fry or freeze, right? So this universe is self-generating and self-sustaining, and Dr. Hawkins suggests that our level of power can be measured on a scale. And you can do this with kinesiology. That's how he did it, with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, and everyone tested the same, because it's all consciousness. Everyone tested the same. Looking at a picture of Hitler, everyone went weak. I don't care who you are. Looking at a picture of Martin Luther King, everyone stays strong. I don't care who you are. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. So there's this map of consciousness. And I know you can't see this because it's itty-bitty-bitty. But you can see it out there on the internet. But it basically starts, the lowest level is shame. It's on the scale. The scale goes from 20 to 1,000. And the lowest level is shame. And the emotional state is humiliation. And the view of life is miserable. Guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage. And then we get to neutrality. Neutrality is 250 on the scale. The emotional state of that is affirmation. What's a spiritual practice? Saying affirmations. What does it sometimes get you to? Neutrality. It doesn't have to send you to the rocket to the moon. It gets you neutral. And you can go on with your day. Right? Neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. Notice love isn't the highest. So, each level of consciousness is associated with a specific set of characteristics and behaviors. The lower levels on the scale are associated with force, are characterized by negative emotions and destructive behaviors. The higher levels are associated with power, characterized by positive emotions and life-affirming behaviors. So my question to you is, Are you operating from a state of force or power most of the time? If you just, scan past 6 months, past 6 weeks, don't try past 60 years. Or you can, but just scan. Like, do that scan. Are you operating from a state of force or power most of the time? Force is reactive. It actually is my first go-to place. I tend to be reactive. I have to admit it. I've been working on this for a long time. It's not like overnight success. Thank God. I give myself breaks as much as possible. Like, it's okay. How many times have I heard that same thing? I'm being reactive. Okay, because that is my go-to place. But I've learned some tools, which I'm going to share with you. So force is reactive, and it's below the level of courage. It arises when we feel, in the moment, shame, fear, anger, or pride. Power is above the level of courage, and it's proactive. We're proactive in our life. It comes when we operate from a higher consciousness of love and live with courage and will and reason, right? So if you find yourself operating from force more than often, you don't have to worry. You can make positive changes in your life and move. It's not like a permanent move, but you learn how to, in the moment, when it happens, you're below the line, as they say sometimes. I'm below the line. What's going on? What can I do? Because if I don't in that moment, it affects all. It's only one consciousness. I got to do my part for this consciousness, not just for me, right? So we're going to work on leaving those feelings, not denying them, no spiritual bypass, but leaving the feelings of blame, hate, anxiety behind, and instead switching to affirmation, optimism, and trust, one step at a time in every single moment of our lives, because the truth is, it never ends. Maybe when we take our last breath, I don't know what happens after that. I'll send you a postcard when it happens to me. But we can cultivate this power because it's actually what we all are. So, there's power in the individual. You have the power. The one thing you have the power over is to control your own thoughts and your own actions. So, how many times a day, he says, Dr. Hawkins, he talks about how what you can really do to help this is to turn to meditation or to prayer. So I'm saying spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer. How many times a day do you do that? Just find out for yourself right now. How many times a day? And I don't mean you got to sit in meditation for 30 minutes. How about 2? How many times a day? How many times a day do you turn to affirmative prayer? Do you know that that's all I talk about and that's all I teach, and there are a lot of days that go by in my life where I don't do it? I could have had a V8. Really, what I tend to do is, hey, prayer partner, I need a prayer. But, right in the moment, right then and there, when I'm below the line, oh my God, even if it only gets me to neutral, whoa, I'm much better for everybody in this whole body of consciousness. Meditation, just breathe, just stop. Tap into whatever you can, like right before the talk, I put myself right in front of that cave painting 16,007 years ago. I felt the power that I felt right then about the oneness of life, the unity of life, and that I am just this little speck on the Sahara Desert of the universe, but that does not make me insignificant. And I use that. I call that a meditation. I tapped into that one power that I am. Any anchor moments you have, use them. I call that meditation. Be still, go within, be the power of this one consciousness. and move from there. Sometimes that only takes 2 minutes. Do a prayer, affirmative prayer. If you can't, phone a friend, ask for it. Now, here are 5 other hows. Believe it or not, I'm going to give you 5 more, but not in great detail. Detachment. Oh, God. Man, have I been working on this. I started with this really big again in my sabbatical last year. Detachment, the observer effect. Be the witness. Don't be like in it. Just put yourself behind the scenes and just observe. Just observe. And becoming that observer, just like in quantum physics, can actually affect the outcome of backing up, not taking it personally, not being in the soup of the emotions, and being the observer, being the witness, right? There's some good stuff in Hawkins's book. There's, other books, Michael Singer, things like that. So it's basically detaching. It allows us to be neutral. It allows us to be objective, more so than we are if we're triggered and all in the soup of that moment, that person, that thing, right? And it can, in turn, allow us to have a greater impact on the outcome of the given situation. Be a witness. Be an observer. It's really much better. It'll raise the vibration instantly, much better than judging, condemning the lower frequencies. You're with me? So there's one, detachment. Surrender. It's important in the healing and transformation process, surrendering to the higher power, whatever you choose to call it, whatever it is to you. Now, it doesn't mean surrender and go, whatever you want, Spirit. No, it's just surrendering. It's letting go of the need to control. Just let it go. It's surrendering to the outcome, the need to control whatever is happening in this moment. My flat tire of my... Just surrender. You know what? It just is. I'm going to surrender to this moment. It's all good. The ship isn't sinking. My life isn't over. The universe supports me. Just the next thing, I'm going to be guided. And then it's like, oh, you got AAA or whatever, right? Surrender. What it does is it allows us to fully open ourselves up to healing and the transformative power of this one consciousness, the infinite intelligence, and divine right action is in play then. Surrender. This one might be the hardest for certain situations, circumstances, and histories in the past of our life. So buckle up. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. I didn't look to David Hawkins for this one. Sometimes this is can be the most challenging spiritual tool to use at times to move to a higher frequency and vibration. So I was wondering, what does he say? So I looked in the back, came to this. Wanted to share this with you. This is on page 457 of the Science Mind textbook for all you textbook people. And it's called Divine Forgiveness. Forgiveness is eternal and ever available. What a load is dropped from the shoulders of personal responsibility when we realize that the eternal mind holds not against anyone. So this one thing holds not against anyone or anything. It never does. The mind, that's a little m, Holmes is saying, the mind which condemns and understands not the truth of being, and the heart which would shut the door of its bosom to one who is mistaken, because yes, people make mistakes. The heart which would shut the door of its bosom to one who is mistaken strangles its own life, closing its eyes to a greater vision. The biggest life is the one which includes the most. Whew. Forgiveness. Might need to work with some practitioners or something, but that struck me. Okay. Breathe. 4, love. Greatest power there is. It's the healing and transformation process. So he explains that love is a powerful force that can help us transcend our limitations and connect with our true nature. So continue in every moment and every possible opportunity. Let it sneak in, invite it in. Cultivate a deep sense of love and compassion for yourself as much as possible. Love, that boundless love, that one thing for ourselves and for others, that raises the vibration. Compassion, there must be something going on. Yes, there's been a lot going on with me. I'm going to have compassion for myself. I'm going to give love to myself. You see, we got to do it for ourselves more and more and more, because I know we're not doing it enough, folks. If we were, there would be unity. And for others. And the 5th one is letting go. Oh my gosh, this is my Achilles heel. I want you to know he wrote a whole book, and it's entitled Letting Go. I highly recommend it. Stop resisting. So here's a true practice that I want you to start putting into play in your life immediately, if you have the courage to do it. Courage is good. It's right there on the line. Y'all can do this, okay? All right. So when something arises and you know you're below the line, fear, anger, whatever, do not bypass it. Don't try to just push it away. I used to do that so much it's not spiritual to be angry. I'm too spiritual. I can't be mad. Oh, years of that. Here's what you do. Sit with the emotion, the feeling, the situation. Just sit with it. Sit with it. And ask yourself a question, 2 questions similar to this, depending on the situation. First question, can I allow myself to feel unhappy as I do in this moment? Can I allow myself to feel as happy as I can in this moment? Can I allow myself to resist whatever it is? Can I allow myself to accept whatever it is? Okay? Notice, they're polar opposites, right? Can I allow myself to love this person that hurt me as much as I can? Can I allow myself to hate this person who hurt me as much as I can? And do this back and forth. Just keep doing it. Oscillate back and forth, not judging your responses, and to know that yes and no is acceptable. No judging. Just go back and forth. Love, hate, right? Resist, accept, whatever the situation is. Eventually, if you do this long enough, you're going to get to neutrality. That's 250 on the scale, and that is trust. You can now trust to move on with your life. And right with that is willingness, because you've been willing to sit with it. Back and forth and oscillate, back and forth. And willingness is 310 on this scale, and that's optimism. And now you got optimism to move forward, and you've raised your vibration. Are you willing to start doing that when situations occur instead of doing 1 or the other. I'm talking about the both and. Yes? Got any yeses willing to do this? I got a few. Great. We're going to raise the vibration. Because it's so important, because Hawkins says the universe holds its breath. Imagine this. The universe holds its breath as we choose. Instant by instant, which pathway to follow. For the universe, the very essence of life itself is highly conscious. Every act, thought, and choice adds to the permanent mosaic. Every moment of our life is adding to the mosaic of this thing called consciousness. Our decisions ripple through the universe of consciousness to affect the lives of all. Lest this idea be considered merely mystical or fanciful, let us remember the fundamental tenet of the new theoretical physics. He says, everything in the universe is connected with everything else. And maybe the first practice you do with this both and is to spend some time with yourself and be with the emotions that are unhealed of your life so far. And can I allow myself to feel all the unhappiness of that? And can I allow myself to feel as happy as I can about it and oscillate? And once you've done that, whatever you are on the timeline, i.e. 57, let's let it go and begin from here and raise our consciousness in every moment, consciously, because it does absolutely matter. And so it is.
Excuse that time in between talks. Now, let's all show our support for this beloved community. We invite you to give generously to the work of CSL Dallas, on knowing that as you give generously, the law of circulation multiplies that gift and gives it to you and so many others. We begin by affirming our abundance together. We live in a supportive universe with infinite abundance all around. I accept for all people. I gratefully share my prosperity that I made for CSL Dallas in the world right now, and so it is. There are many ways to give. Text giving, Venmo, PayPal, auto tithing, or use the basket being passed around. Pick which option works best for you. Happening on campus today, our free sustainability training is your opportunity to create a personal checklist of the ways you can start living a greener, more sustainable life. The training starts 12:30 p.m. in the STEM room. Go grab some snacks and lunch and join us. During our celebration next Sunday, we are excited to have former music director Kirby Welch here with us. He'll be playing guitar like old times. In addition, Kirby is hosting a soundscape meditation on Saturday night, July 8th. This performance will be a live candlelit concert featuring the new works he's been creating. Get your tickets online at csldallas.org/events. Every Sunday, receive direct spiritual support from one of our licensed spiritual coaches. These sessions are free and take place in person and online immediately after the celebration. If you're on campus, head to the Peace Room, and for those of you online, the link will be posted in the chat for you to join via Zoom. Now let's close time together with our amazing music team.
For a blessed and glorious weekend.